Hello and welcome to Sarat Chandra IAS Academy, where your dreams are our mission. This is Yatharth here. In the last lecture, we talked about various geographical features such as lakes, as well as about the Article 99 of UNSC and what it may affect in the ongoing Israel-Gaza conflict. In this lecture, we'll be seeing more maps and various different things. Let's start with the center announcing 1500 crore aid to Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh after cyclone wreaks havoc. So we already talked about this cyclone and we have already done the mapping. It came from the Bay of Bengal and made a landfall in the Andhra Pradesh, where it affected many things, and the Tamil Nadu. So the eastern coast has been affected from this cyclone. What is the name of cyclone? Cyclone Michong. Alright, so the Union government on December 7th released fund for the states of Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu, and another tranche for funds for Chennai city specifically. Chennai is located here on the northern end of Tamil Nadu. In the wake of damage inflicted by several cyclonic storm Michong that hit the coastal states this week. Union Home Minister Amit Shah told that government has approved 500 plus crores for the integrated urban flood management activities for Chennai Basin project. This is a very important aspect of this news, that why cities are being flooded. First and foremost, why India's coastal cities are being flooded, and what can be done infrastructurally in the urban planning that will mitigate from these natural disasters. Alright, so this is an aspect in the GS3 that we must think about. So let's just remember the name of this project. You can directly read about this project, alright, and gather information about the question that was arising. So Chennai is facing major floods, the third such occurring in the last 8 years. We are witnessing more instances of metropolitan cities receiving excessive rainfall, leading to sudden flooding. So the question here is like more than natural rainfall. This can be a result of both climate change and unusual events such as El Nino. So we talked about El Nino. We'll still talk about El Nino in this lecture also. So this may have given the Chennai city excessive rainfall, and it would have taken some time for the water that was filled to eventually drain. Alright, so how can we better manage these cities, better manage these urban planning in order to cope up with these disasters? So guided by a proactive approach, PM has approved the first urban flood mitigating project. So this urban flood mitigating project is also important for integrated urban flood management activities for Chennai Basin under the National Disaster Mitigation Fund. This word is coming again and again, mitigation. So what is the meaning of mitigation? Mitigation means we do not reduce the cause, but reduce the effect. Such as we let the flood happen. Alright, we do not do anything much in order to reduce the flood actually happening or the rainfall actually happening. What we do is to make it the effect of this flood very less so that it drains quickly. So this was also seen in COP28 very recently. Alright, that India is not phasing out coal, and it will take India's a lot more years, 40 more years, to gain net zero. We also recently talked about the energy and the renewable energy processes of India, and we saw that even during till year 2040, India's coal development will peak and keep increasing, and we will have to build 2 to 3 times of the energy that we require for renewable energy so that can be reliable. Alright, so all these factors you must keep in mind and connect with each other. Alright, so what is this National Disaster Mitigation Fund, NDMF? So the objective of creation of NDMF is for the projects exclusively for the purpose of mitigation, which is being served by the existing centrally sponsored schemes such as Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana, Krishnonnati Yojana, National Mission on Sustainable Agriculture, Manrega, etc. So additionally, the Ministry of Finance has made a provision of 10% of the total outlay for all CSS scheme as a flexi fund. So basically it's about a mitigation fund when the disasters take place through centrally sponsored schemes. So National Disaster Response Fund, let's see what is this. So National Calamity Contingency Fund was renamed as the National Disaster Response Fund with the enactment of the Disaster Management Act of 2005. This already I have told you many times. Whenever you are talking about a very famous act, let's say NFSA, then you must also remember the year, let's say 2013, or RTI Act of 2005, or this Disaster Management DMA of 2005. So defined in section 46 of the Disaster Management Act, DM Act, that placed in the public account of the Government of India under reserve funds not bearing interest. What are public accounts? So constituted under Article 266 of 2 of Constitution, accounting for flaws in the transactions where the government acts as a banker, such as provident fund, small saving. These funds do not belong to the government and must be repaid at some time. Expenditure from it do not require approval by the parliament. Please just take care of this specific point, that expenditures from the public accounts do not require approval by the parliament. Let's see the role of NDRF, that is the National Disaster Relief Fund. Just a second. Response Fund. So what is the role here? So role is the policy of the mitigation is new, but the response has been forever, let's say from 2005 or even earlier. So we need to focus on response through this fund, not the mitigation right now. So managed by the central government for meeting expenses for emergency responses. Alright, in mitigation what will happen, that the infrastructure will be changed or made better. But right now for the emergency responses, NDRF will work, not the mitigation fund, NDMF. Alright, so this is the main difference here. It supplements the state's disaster response fund in case of severe disasters, provided sufficient funds are not available in the SDRF. SDRF is the primary fund available to state governments for responses to notified disasters, covering immediate relief expenditures. The central contributes 75% of the SDRF allocation for general category states and 90% for special category states, Northeast states, Sikkim, Uttarakhand, Himachal Pradesh, and Jammu and Kashmir. We will be talking about the special category status also. We just talked in the last lecture about Bihar asking for the special category states, and we saw that what are the criteria of the special category states. Alright, specifically the one of the foremost criteria was geographical location of the state being such that the economy is unable to develop. So this also you can watch in the earlier lecture. Okay, let's move further. So who finances the National Disaster Response Fund? So finance through a levy of a cess on certain items chargeable to excise and custom duty, annually approved through the financial bill. Currently, a national calamity contingency duty is levied to finance the NDRF, and additional budgetary response support is provided as necessary. NCCD is levied on goods specified in 7th schedule, manufactured or produced goods. Alright, who monitors this? So Department of Agriculture and Cooperation under Ministry of Agriculture and Farmer Welfare monitors relief activities for calamities associated with drought, hailstorm, pest attacks, and cold wave or frost. One drought we talked about in Karnataka very recently was the green drought. So this term is very important. Green drought, what is it? You can go in the previous lecture and watch. Alright, so other natural calamities are monitored by the Ministry of Home Affairs. The Comptroller and Auditor General audits the account of NDRF, and this is also important. Alright, so a related news we see that 1/3 of India's coastline, so 33% of India's coastline is vulnerable to erosion. So what is erosion? Let's see, and what is the vulnerability here. So over 1/3 of India's coastline is vulnerable to erosion. Union Minister Ashwini Kumar Chaubey told Lok Sabha on Monday, citing a study by the National Center for Coastal Research, that is NCCR. So Chaubey also mentioned in his reply, statewide study on beaches facing erosion. Erosion basically means whatever is naturally composing the thing or the natural structure of the thing is being lost. So in the sense of erosion of beaches, so beaches are basically a sand, let's say it's a sand beach. So it's between the sea and some water body here. Alright, so on the both sides it's being lost. The structure is being lost. Either the sea is flooding in, or the water body or the urban bodies are flooding outside, and the structure of the main thing is being reduced. So carried out by the National Center for Sustainable Coastal Management. According to the study, of the 116 beaches surveyed in Andhra Pradesh, 35 beaches are vulnerable to erosion and rest are under accretion. So what is the difference between erosion and accretion? We'll see. So it is observed that 33.6% of Indian coastline is vulnerable to erosion and 26.9% is under accretion. That means it's growing, the loss is growing. And 39.6% is in stable state. So some is vulnerable, that means in future it can happen, if not being taken care of. Some is under accretion, that means it's being lost. Accretion mean being lost, and some is in stable state. So the NCCR, basically an attached office of the Ministry of Earth Sciences, revealed that the shoreline changes were a combined effect of natural and human activities, that means anthropogenic activities, and that the receding coastline would adversely affect the livelihoods of fishing communities, because fishing is only possible in a shallow water zone, let's say. So in this zone only the fishing is possible. So India has a total of 7516. I'm not talking about the extremely shallow zone here. All right, fishing is not possible in this, but usually the fishing community fishes in this zone, not in the extremely deep sea zones. So including 2094 km of island territories and 5422 km of mainland coastline. Indian coastline stretches across 9 states and 4 union territories and is bordered to the west by Arabian Sea and in the Indian Ocean, and to the east by the Bay of Bengal. So we all know this, India has a very large coastline and 9 states go through this. So let's see the mapping portion here, which is again very important in the light of coastal regulation, coastal zone regulations. So the CZR rules, or the coastal zone regulations. So in the CRZ1, those places are designated, or those areas are designated which are ecologically sensitive, and there are primary restrictions on the construction or anything in these areas. In the CRZ2 zones, or coastal regulatory zone, urban development areas up to the shoreline of the coast, and CRZ3, rural and urban areas which fall outside CR1 and 2. CRZ3 comprises of the rural areas, in which A and B are two categories, in which densely populated areas come under the A, and areas with population density of below 2161 per square kilometer, they come in the B. Alright, so these are the coastal regulatory zones basically, and CRZ1 are the most protected ones. So in this, no activity or development is allowed. It has to be very natural. When you talk about the states which have the coastline, so there's Gujarat, then there's Maharashtra. Goa has one of the minimal coastlines, very small. There's Karnataka, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, and Odisha. So while Odisha and Andhra Pradesh may seem they have the largest coastline, Andhra Pradesh specifically, so Gujarat is actually the one with the largest coastline. So whenever you are asked, you must arrange in this order. Alright. Let's talk about the order here. So Gujarat here on the first number, then there is Andhra Pradesh on the second number here, there's Tamil Nadu on the third, then Maharashtra on the fourth, then there's Odisha on the fifth, Kerala on the sixth, Karnataka on the seventh, West Bengal on the eighth, and there's Goa on the ninth. So we must remember always about the Gujarat, which has the highest coastline. Alright, and followed by the Andhra Pradesh very closely. There are other states too, you must remember all these names. There's Rajasthan. Alright, Punjab, Haryana, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand here. We can see Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh. Alright, so you can just take care of all these. Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh. Alright, Bihar here and West Bengal here. And we read about these states also very recently when we were talking about the tribal unrest and the specific lakes we talk about in the Manipur, the Loktak Lake. Alright, so always take care of the map of India. There are various different coast, etc. Just a second, I'll highlight these. Okay, so Utkal coast we talked about when we talked about the Chilka Lake and Odisha. Alright, it forms a delta of 3 rivers. The Brahmani, Baitarani, and which one else? The most famous Mahanadi River. Alright. So this was about the Utkal coast. There are northern Sarkars. Then Andhra coast here, and here's the Pulikat Lake, Carnatic Plains. The Coromandel coast is this side on the eastern side. Please remember this. And this is the coast of emergence. Alright, that means this is the coast of emergence. It has come out of the water. This is coming out of the water. This is Malabar, which is also the coastline of emergence. This is Vembanad Lake. This is a coastline of submergence on the Konkan coast, especially in the Maharashtra and the Goa region. There is Daman and Diu, Kathiawad, Kutch. These are regional, let's say, divisions of the state. This Gulf of Kutch and Gulf of Khambat or Cambay. This is the Gulf of Cambay. Alright. Okay, let's come to this map here. We can see many different things again. This is the Run of Kutch. Run is a special formation which was also asked in prelims. Just a second. So this Run of Kutch was also asked in prelims 2023. Alright, that which type of geological formation is or geographical formation it is. This is the Kathiawar coast. Many ports were also asked in 2022, if you remember. Jawaharlal Nehru Port, etc. were asked from here. So please take care of all those things. And there is a probability that question can come on the inland waterways. I hope you all know that how are highways, etc. named in the India and what is their, let's say, the naming protocol. Alright, if you don't know, we'll deal with in next lecture, because a question came on the highways in prelims 2023 also. Also, very recently, I'll get you a news from Tripura to across here in the West Bengal, Kolkata. There was a highway that created across the Bangladesh. So you can read about that also. Moving further, there's the Utkal coast again, and Andhra coast, Coromandel coast, Malabar coast, and Konkan coast. Utkal coast, we saw the Lake Chilka here. Alright, there's various different things you can read from this map and underline in this map. Alright, let's read the next news, which is Seychelles declares an emergency. So we don't need to know about why this country declared an emergency. We'll just figure out about the geographical point of view. So Seychelles is an archipelago. Archipelago, I already told you, it's a group of islands of the eastern coast of Africa and a major tourist destination. It's the continent's smallest country by area and population, with the most populous island of Mahé, only about 26 kilometers long and 17 kilometers wide. Much of the East African region has been hit by heavy rainfall and deadly flooding recently. So this is because of the El Nino conditions. Alright, hundreds have died across the region and millions have been displaced since the rains began in the late October. So here's the map. Let's just see this map. This is Seychelles and the capital is Victoria. It's located basically on the eastern coast of Africa. Also, in the second last lecture, we talked about the Kenya. There was a water problem, and we saw the use of filters, water filters. We talked about this lake also, Lake Victoria, and the neighboring countries to the Kenya, Somalia, Ethiopia, Sudan, South Sudan, etc. We saw Tanzania here, Comoros. Alright, there's Mozambique, Madagascar. So this mapping is very important again. So we have already seen where is Seychelles. Alright, this is an archipelago located here. Alright. So Ethiopia, Kenya, Somalia, and South Sudan have all experienced raging floods that have been made worse by the El Nino weather phenomena. So this is the similar thing to what we have seen recently in Andhra Pradesh and Chennai, Tamil Nadu, etc. We have our own ways of dealing with this thing, especially the mitigation funds, etc. Better urban flood management. Alright, similar things we also witnessed in the north when we talked about the Teesta floods, the Teesta river floods, about which I took a lecture. Alright, so the floods that have been made worse by the El Nino weather phenomena. So we need to see what is the effect of El Nino weather phenomena on the continent of Africa. When you talk about Africa, here you can see the map. So October to following January, this region will be wet. Alright, this is the region where Seychelles fallen and the Kenya, etc. fallen. And this region, especially the Sahel region, which we see here, it will be dry. And this is the Sahara region. A question came on the DRC region here, Democratic Republic of the Congo region. Which country does not fall in the DRC region? Alright. And a question also came about mining here in the Congo region. Which mineral? Cobalt. The cobalt mining here. Alright, earlier question has also come on the Fagubine Lake here. So keep care of all these countries, whether it's Nigeria, Niger, Burkina Faso, and all the countries in this region especially. Alright, Sudan, South Sudan, Ethiopia, Mozambique, Somalia, Kenya, we see here, Madagascar here, Seychelles here. Alright, so take care of the Africa's map. We'll see Africa's map in the next slide now. So more than 130 people have died in Ethiopia, Kenya, and Somalia. Also, an international team of scientists say that catastrophic rains in East Africa have also been exacerbated made worse by the human-induced climate change, which made them more intense. So see this in the light of recently held COP28. Where it's happening? It's happening in the UAE. Alright, let's see the Africa's map as well. Alright, here we see the map. Just a second. So in the recent slide, I believe yesterday in the last lecture, we saw the map of the South America. Why did we see the map? Because the country of Venezuela was having a trouble with the Guianan territory here. Alright, so we saw the counterclockwise map, whether it's Colombia, Peru, Argentina, Chile, alright, Paraguay, Uruguay, etc., Brazil here, French Guiana here. So we saw all that map. You can revise that from there and keep revising all these maps, whether it's South America, whether it's America, or whether it's Africa. So in the light of that developments, recent developments because of the El Nino, we need to see the map of Africa again. So from here, if we start these countries, whether it's Western Saharan region, Morocco. So Morocco, a famous traveler came from here. What was the name of that traveler? You tell me in the comment section. And there's Algeria, Libya, and Sudan. And here is the Tunisia. One famous revolution started from here. Which revolution? Was it the Spring Revolution? Alright, so Egypt is having multiple issues here, or this is the Sinai Peninsula. Alright, and here is the Israel. This is the which canal? Which very famous canal? Suez Canal. Alright, this is Israel here, Lebanon, etc. here. So that is all for later, whatever we see there. Alright, starting from here, this is Somalia. Alright, we take the top countries: Algeria, Tunisia, Libya, and Egypt. Then there is Somalia. And related to Somalia is here Ethiopia. We'll see the big countries. Then there is Sudan and South Sudan and Kenya. So this is one group. Alright, the Sudan, South Sudan, Ethiopia, Kenya, and Somalia. This is one group here. So in this region, there are two small countries. There's Djibouti and Eritrea. Alright, the Kenya here we saw. Then towards the Kenya, here is Uganda, Tanzania. Alright, as we go down, there is Mozambique and Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe is very famous for the cricket, so you can learn from here. Then related to Z, Zimbabwe is Zambia. Alright, you can learn these two countries together. Kenya, Tanzania, Zambia, and Zimbabwe, and Mozambique here. There's a small country, Malawi. Alright, here's Malawi. Alright, moving downside, there's Botswana, South Africa. It's very famous, South Africa. And there is Namibia. Alright, so Zambia, Tanzania, Kenya, Namibia. They are all in one line like this. Kenya, Tanzania, Zambia, and Namibia. And countries here are Mozambique, Zimbabwe, Botswana, and Malawi. Alright, this one group you remember from here: Sudan, South Sudan, Ethiopia, Somalia, Kenya. Then there is Uganda, Tanzania, Zambia, Namibia, Zimbabwe, Botswana, and Mozambique. Alright, then there are these two countries. The central one is Democratic Republic of the Congo and Angola here. Angola is not very famous, but Democratic Republic of Congo is famous. Then there is Central African Republic. There are smaller countries like Gabon. Alright, Cameroon. So the option came in Prelims 2023 was about the Cameroon. That this is not included in the DRC, that is Democratic Republic of Congo. Alright, there is Chad, Niger, and Mali. These three countries make one group: Mauritania, Mali, Niger, and Chad or Chad. Alright, here. Then there are some smaller countries here: Senegal, and there is Ghana, there is Nigeria. Nigeria is a major country. So in this way, you can learn the map of Africa. Just learn the big countries in this continent. Alright. Okay, so this was today's lecture. In the next lecture, we'll talk about more things. This is Yatharth here signing off. Thank you very much for being with me. Keep studying, keep growing. I'll see you in the next lecture. Have a good day.